Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crypto CJ's Trade of the Day, the Monday night Zoom edition. Got some of the usual suspects: Patrick, Steve, Rob, John, Justin, Brian, and a few more. So thanks for joining me again. You guys found the new link. That's a good thing. So we are good to go. Let's check out Bitcoin because that's what we've been talking about mostly. And can everybody see my Bitcoin chart? All right. So we had a high at about 3 in the morning, right here, and it dropped to this level here about 12 hours later, and we got an 8.25% drop on Bitcoin, which probably has, and it's dropping some more, which has a little bit to do with why that alert just came up. CELR is a trade I made this morning, and I set my alert. I guess we'll have a teaching moment here. It just went off, which is why it's gone, but it's alerting me now. I've had a 10% drop. So most of my trades held up pretty well during this Bitcoin drop. They lost maybe 5 to 8%, but looks like we're in 10% range now. So I'll be ladder buying this pretty soon. I'm not going to jump in right away. I'm going to look for evidence of coming back before I do that. So I'll be probably checking this off and on for the next I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes, either with you guys on or over here on my other screen. But
would one green bar be enough evidence, or
no, unless it's a big one. Even then, I'm usually looking for like 3 out of 5 trending up. Let's see, something like this, this kind of series, this kind of thing. So I'm looking for that, probably to punch through the SMA line, and then I go ahead and make my ladder buy and set my exit at or above my initial entry, and hopefully that'll give me like 4 to 6% on 2 positions total. So that works out pretty well. Haven't talked about ladder buying a whole lot on this Monday night Zoom, but the situation came up, so it seemed appropriate. Let's go back to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's gone through a multiple 1, 2, 3 dip. I want to circle them. So we've got the squeeze and it bubbles out here. So we've got a dip here, another one here, another one here, and another one here. And it tries to punch through the SMA line, but it doesn't make it. So it might start another dip sequence. If it punches through, that ends the dip sequence, and maybe we start another one, or maybe it works its way back up to recovery. We don't know, but we've got 4 dips here. It would have been reasonable, to buy like right around here, and then maybe ladder buy. If you're an iCoinPro subscriber, they teach around 2 to 3% for each ladder buy. As I just discussed earlier, I have higher risk tolerance than that, so I usually go 8 to 10 to 12% on spot trades, and usually around 15% on my leverage tokens. That way I can usually get a better profit on the recovery, but it is riskier. So you have to decide as a trader how much risk you want to take on those situations. So that's what we have going with Bitcoin now. It does make evaluating a trend of trade on Altcoin Alert borderline pointless. So I'm going to dabble a little bit with that software to see if we can find something that's dip friendly. But to be candid, a better choice for that is going to be our iCoinPro. And I've got the RSI SPY up. And what I found when I was prepping, or actually just trading about an hour and a half ago, is a few coins that were below 30 on both the 1 hour RSI and the 4 hour RSI. That's kind of unusual, especially in an overall bull market like we have now. And Ethereum was one of them. And I was in an Ethereum up trade on FTX, and I went ahead and set a low buy order for a second position, which I don't think was picked up. No, it's still there. So I don't know if I'll get that or not. I may, if Ethereum shows good evidence of moving up, I may move that up and take that. But for now, we've got Monero or XMR at the 20 level on the RSI and just slightly above the 30 on the 4 hour, 32.97. So let's give this a look. I think this has potential just based on the numbers I'm seeing. So we've got multiple dips like I just showed you on Bitcoin. So I'm not going to circle all again, but you see the pattern. It did punch through the SMA line here. So we start over, one dip, two dips, three, four, and a fifth dip. Now we got a pretty good green candle. If we get a series of them, I'd probably want to see one more. But, there's nothing wrong with buying at this point right here. You've got a fourth, one, two, three, like a fifth dip. So this is a pretty good entry point. Not financial advice, of course, but yeah, I'm kind of liking this. And I think XMR has an upcoin. So I might make a trade right here. Well, it's not on my list, so I'm going to jump over here. I shouldn't do that. It's kind of rude. So that's one I'm looking at. I've looked at Mithril before, but FTT is another. I'm actually in this from a couple days ago on an Altcoin Alert suggestion on a trend trade that didn't quite work out. I got a little too greedy. I could have popped it for about 3%, and I was holding out for about 8%, and it didn't pan out. So you can see I've got my my alert set here. It's about 10 to 11% below where I bought it. If it hits here, I'll ladder buy it. But again, it's gone through multiple dips, just like Bitcoin has. So this would be another potential dip trade to get into. We're a little late, but not too bad. Up to the SMA is 1%. This level of resistance here is almost 2%. Another level of resistance here, almost 5%, and then up here, 7%. So those are the potential exit points I see based on prior resistance. If you want to take the FTT trade. So any questions on what I'm showing you based on the RSI SPY? I've also changed my RSI approach a little bit. I used to, and I've done videos about setting alerts on the RSI 5-minute chart. I bumped that up to the 15-minute chart. The longer the chart is, the more likely the coin is to recover and recover significantly. So it just won't go off as frequently, obviously, because the 5-minute charts, those 30 RSI drops are going to happen more often than the 15, and the 15 obviously more often than the hour. When I was setting hour, I started this just setting the hour chart, RSI on the hour chart, but when I was doing that, I wasn't getting enough action, and I saw that I was missing some pretty good trades in the lower time frame. So I think the 15 minutes, what I'm going to work with, and I'll get back to you and let you know how that works out. So let's look at maybe one more on the RSI SPY. We've got a below 30 here on Link and just slightly above 30 here on the 4-hour. So that's another one I think we can look at. Okay, it's not as dramatic as some of the other charts we've looked at, but we've still got a 1, 2, 3. Then Link has, Link's starting to come back. So John asked about, one candle or two on evidence of recovery. We've got, one pretty good size candle and a smaller green candle. This might be something to consider. .92 to the SMA line. Resistance right about here, 4.35%. More resistance here at about 5.89. And up here, top of the Bollinger Band, we're looking at 7%, very similar to the FTT we looked at. So that's about all I have for the RSI SPY. I think the rest of them are going to look pretty similar.
On that link chart there that's on the screen,
Sure.
the dips that you pointed out, most of them happen after the band has expanded, like from the contraction to the bigger bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Does that matter that they're happening there, or does most of the time when we see them in the examples, they're like at the narrow part, or just as it's getting to the wider part?
That's a good question. The ideal 1, 2, 3 dip trade looks a lot like this. You want the squeeze portion here where they're tight and then a bubble. So this is a setup we're really looking for. Now, we fudge a little, in the bull market because sometimes they're really squeezy like this area here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just bows out a little bit more and then it dips within that, like this right here. Is that what you're talking about, John? Yeah. So this is what you're used to seeing more as opposed to this exaggerated looking dip.
Yeah. Well, the first time through, you were sort of pointing out the dips a little to the right of that 1, 2, 3 where you just did.
Okay.
Okay, you answered.
CJ, why do you use 5-minute candles on an 8-hour scale? Why don't you zoom in on that last portion on the right?
Sorry, I was distracted. Well, as day traders, we use the 5-minute chart most of the time to determine where to enter a trade. So I'm not quite sure I follow your question. The 8-hour, you mean, so I've got this space over here. Why don't I blow it up more like this?
Well, I got TradingView up and I'm looking at a chart with 1-minute bars going for 1 day. And it spreads the whole pattern out, stretches it out, and it looks horrible.
Yeah, the 1 minute does. I don't care for that. I think you have to upgrade your membership. At least you used to have to. It's been a long time since I've looked at a 1 minute chart, but on TradingView. But yeah, I think the 5 minutes the ideal for day trading. Obviously, we've looked at the day and the hour before especially in trend of trades to evaluate those potentials. But right now we're looking at dips just based on what Bitcoin's done and the rest of the market has done today. But
can you pop to the link 8-hour or 1 day chart just to see how we got to this 5-minute one we're looking at?
All right, here's my
little context.
So I'm a little behind in my fibs, but yeah, I've still got a link up trade I'm stuck in from February, but so this stings a little. But it did, yeah, we shot up to nearly 37 here in February. And then since then it's dropped all the way down here, and then it's coming back up a little bit. Yeah, 25%. So
the 5-minute chart you had up before looked like it might be ready to pop a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty flat for the last 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, let's look at the 8-hour. So at least in the last 4 or 5 days, our range is here to about here. 60%. So it's had some movement. Yeah, I mean, for the coins have not returned to their February highs. That's something I'm taking into consideration when I consider a trend trade. So,
Okay.
any
Thanks.
other questions on Link? Okay. I'm getting a little cluttered here. And since we're over here, maybe we'll look at a couple of buddy coin crawler options. Storm is something I traded on Friday or Saturday, had a nice result with it. It's bounced back pretty well. It dropped down here, went through a dip sequence, and it's already shot past the SMA line, bounced off it, and it's working its way up again. So if you're more of a trend trader, this might be one to consider. Seeing resistance here at 3%, here at about 7.5%, and then up here, 13%. So if you're more interested in trends than dips, this one looks good for that. Any questions on Storm? Okay. See what else we can find. This one's new. Don't know it. This one's interesting. WRX. This is the token that represents an exchange in India, Wazer. And I did really well with this about a year ago. And then it fell off. The volume fell off a cliff. So there's been some litigation over in India about this one, but it's coming back pretty well. Let's look at the week chart. Yeah, I was trading this around here. Yeah, I caught some of this action, and then yeah, it fell off a cliff, and now it's pumped back like crazy. So this one's
What kind of
back.
volume? I'm sorry. What kind of volume like did it have, and then it went to? Like, what volume are you looking for when you're looking to make a trade?
The volume fell below a million in a 24-hour period. So I don't look at anything that low anymore. When I first started, we were more in a bear market, and then my standard was 500,000. Now it's closer to 10 million. So I'll go to 7 or 8 if there's a setup I like a lot. But anyway, so let's hour chart on this. Looks like it hit a high up here and then dropped. It hasn't been hurt too much by the Bitcoin drop. On the hour chart, spoke too soon. Okay. It's already punched through the SMA line. This could be another potential trend trade. Got 99-day moving average here. You could use its resistance, just right about where the top of the Bollinger Band is, 3.5%. Some more here, 6%. And quite a few candles in this range here, 8%. Top of the Bollinger Band, 10.7, going back to this resistance here. So again, these coins have room to move. Most will come back to where they were before Bitcoin dropped, unless Bitcoin wants to drop again. Those of you in CryptNation probably heard Pizza Mind's prediction that he's one of the co-founders of that group, that there's a strong possibility that Bitcoin could drop as low as 41 to 41,000 based on some options trading and some strike prices and some things beyond the scope of this call. But so that would be something to look for by the 26th. March 26th is the end of that option period. So the person who taught me Fibonacci retracements, named Scotty, he disagrees with that. He thinks there's too much buying power. When Bitcoin drops below 54, 53, it seems like a lot of people swoop in and buy. That's what we've seen today. It seems to be consolidating now around 54, 54.5, that area. So that would tend to bolster that argument that, Bitcoin in the low 50s, people are going to pounce on that. It won't. The retail market and probably a lot of the investors aren't going to let it, probably aren't going to let it go below 50, but who knows? They could all collaborate and push it down themselves and, make money off of it on shorts. So, where Bitcoin's going to go is always something as traders we have to think about. On the forum in iCoinPro, I think we talked a little bit about this last week. Justin Clark does his analysis every morning. He's on the East Coast, so it's 4 a.m. to me, but it's probably about 7 to him. He talks about pennant formation, and this is some more advanced charting kind of techniques. And so he talks about where to be concerned, where Bitcoin's going to go. So that's something. If you're an iCoinPro, you will probably want to check this out every morning. It's part of my routine. So, all right. Let's see. Are there any more jumping out at me on the Buddy Coin Crawler? Not really. I think they're mostly going to look like the ones we just looked at. So, any questions about what we've looked at on the Buddy Coin Crawler and the RSI SPY before I move over to Altcoin Alert? Okay. Altcoin Alert, we've got Litecoin at 75.2. I did buy this morning. I bought Litecoin up, but I got caught in that Bitcoin dump. So I did ladder buy Litecoin up, and I'm probably about even on that at the moment. No, I'm down a little bit, but I'm looking forward to get back right around this area here, and that'll be a pretty good trade. If it doesn't bounce back fairly quickly, I might be stuck in this one for a few days. That happens sometimes when Bitcoin wrecks a trade. So, but actually now, if you're not in Litecoin, it might be a good time to get in. 75.2 is a good AA score. It's still, the software still believes that this is going to have a positive, I can't do this at the same time, but it's going to have a positive result in the next 48 hours. So that's something to think, something to take into consideration. Bitcoin Cash is 72.5. We could look at that real quick. Looking pretty similar to some of the other charts we've seen. One dip here. Well, it's about at the SMA line anyway. So, which is going to negate this this dip sequence. So, looking at it more as a trend. 2% here. About 4.5% here. And if you're feeling really risky, about 5.5% here. This doesn't excite me that much. There are other coins that move better than this. Part of it's a function of its price. It's over $500. So you can find a coin like AAVE, that's going to look better than, it's a fifth of the price, 20%, and it's going to move better. Well, not a whole lot better. I think we were at 5.5% there towards the top of the resistance, and we're about 8% here. But AAVE has the AAVE up token on Binance. So that's probably what I would do, and be looking for something like this, around 13%. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, lately I've been using this short-term sentiment. And we've got two very bullish coins, Zen and Dnt. Both of these I've traded before. Let's check out Dnt. Looking kind of squeezier than the others we've looked at. So already above the SMA, trending up, seems to be following the 20-day moving average. Probably look at this range here around 4.5%. Just on the resistance I'm seeing. This is all pretty simple stuff. Just looking where I'm looking for 3 to 5 candles clumped together. That just shows me that the price is going to have a hard time pushing beyond that. So what we call resistance. For those of you who might be new to this call, and like I've got about eight candles here, kind of clumped up in this range. So that's one of the points I consider as an exit point for my trade. But obviously, the higher up you go, the more risk you take. You know, this might be a more reasonable. This range here, this 3 to 4% range, might be the better play. It's hard to tell. Okay, what's the other way we're going to look at? Zen. Yeah, it's nearly identical. So see, it's got a higher price, more movement. Yeah. Okay. Any questions on the short-term sentiment search or the coins we just looked at? Yeah, just like it sounds, with short-term, I'm trying to get out today, 10, 12 hours at the most. So long-term sentiment, I'm looking for a day or two. And rep, it's already up 22%. I try to catch these in the 10 to 20% range, thinking they might have still some more room to move. Like this one here, Steam, 54%, the number one winner of the day. Not sure if that has much more room to move, but we'll check out rep. Okay. Not really. Did not really go into a dip sequence when Bitcoin dropped. It did have one dip here, and it's trending down, but it's not punching through the Bollinger Band. It's stuck in this range here. So I'm not sure if this is going to move enough to make us that interested. Well, 3% to the SMA is not bad. Got some more resistance here, 7.58%. And some more here at 13%. This is better than I thought. So this is sort of intriguing. I'm going to keep some of these windows up and take another look after our call. So I'm in quite a few trades now, more than I would like. I try to keep my volume between 5 and 8 trades. I'm in 11 right now on Binance and I think 2 or 3 on FTX. Those are all day trades. I've got some longer term stuff too, but this is, my day trading balance that I'm working off of. I have too many already, so I might ladder buy a couple things though, like I talked about earlier. Yeah, the CELR trade. Shoot, it's up to 8,300 already. Well, shoot, look at this this green candle. We were talking about ladder buying over here, and then this shot up. Now it's beyond where I bought it. So I guess that's a good thing. I don't have to ladder buy it. I mean, it's not in much profit yet, but it's had a pretty nice recovery. We'll see if it sustains that to my exit point. I'm trying to get around 93, which is not even, I'm trying to get over here. Trying to catch this this group of resistance candles here. So we'll see if that happens. Okay. We've looked at AA score, a couple sentiment searches. Let's look at We'll do one on 1 hour projection and one on trading activity. We'll probably get some overlap, but we look DNT. MFT was also listed on the Buddy Coin Crawler. I will type that up real quick.
So in the 1 hour, when you're looking for something over 5% on the top number of the three,
What about the 1 hour?
when you look at the sort on Radar and you sort it on the 1 hour projection,
Right. You're reminding me of of what I'm usually looking at. Yeah.
you look
So
at the very top number of the three should
yeah,
be over 5.
yeah. I want this over 5. I'm going to rely more on my own technical analysis than their suggestion of the overall, success. I mean, they're just averaging the upper and the lower for a 1.97% movement in the next 1 hour. So, 7% in 1 hour would be really nice.
Yeah, sometimes it's like 7%, but then the negative side is 7%, negative 7. So
Yeah.
it like comes out even. If you look at the middle number, sometimes it's like 2 or 3 or 4, but sometimes it just comes out even at 0 or close
Right.
to it.
If I see like you said, like the first scenario, 7% up, 7% down, but I'm in this kind of dip sequence here, then I don't
Mhm.
care what they think for the 7% down. I'm gonna jump in here because I know from my training and experience that we're in a dip trade, and the probability is way better than 50% that it's going to go back up. But right now, the bubble is squeezing together and it's just kind of sitting on the SMA line. There's not much I can really do with this at the moment. I could set alerts and things like that, and that's fine if you feel strongly about it. But I just think we have better setups right now going on in this particular coin. So I'm going to bounce off this and look at trading activity. All right, so we got quite a few fires here. Some coins recovering from the Bitcoin drop. We've looked at Rep already. Hive. I traded this a few days ago. Had a pretty good result. Let's check that out. Wow, this one really bounced back. Really came back with a vengeance. It mostly ignored the Bitcoin drop. I mean, it only went down, well, this one's kind of, well, it went down 15%, but then came up, 19%. So, wow. I think we're too late on this one, but seller came back well, won. I'm in this as well. That's annoying. And it mostly flat. It did drop down some, but it never did hit my my ladder buy position, and now it's probably pretty close to where I bought it. I'm actually in profit on this, so it does speak to a resilient market when Bitcoin drops 8% in a 12-hour period, and then shows signs of recovery. The altcoins are coming back pretty strong. So I'm very interested to see if this trend is going to hold up. If my friend Scotty's prediction is a 53.5 and a bounce, like seems to be happening now, or if it's going to be Pizza Mind's prediction based on the options closing on the 26th, if it's dropping down to 41, it meaning Bitcoin, that would really send the altcoins into a spiral. But we'll got a few days till that happens. But one would think if it's going to happen, they need to try to do it now. And if the whales are trying to push down the price and failed today, then we don't care. We just trade the market. Whatever the market gives us, we're going to take it. So Anyway, that's about all I have for Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro. I've also showed you, we talked about some of my RSI settings earlier in the call. I'll just throw this out open now, or throw this open to any day trading questions you have on any of these platforms or any strategies or whatever's on your mind. And if I hear a voice, but can't quite hear it, you may want to go with the chat as well. I have the chat open if somebody wants to type up a question.
Well, I made up a new TradingView sheet that shows the ratio of a crypto divided by Bitcoin.
Okay.
And those are very interesting to watch. You can figure out which ones, like THETA, actually go up while Bitcoin is going down. So looking for relationships between the two.
I had a chart like that about a year ago, but it's obviously old, so your numbers would be more current. But it's rare for Bitcoin to not affect a coin to some degree. It's just some are more than others. So I think that data could be valuable.
And it looks like Bitcoin has bottomed out at 54.4.
Yeah, it was around I think it was 53.611 at about 3 p.m. and then it's slowly worked its way up about about $1,000. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly where the bounce occurred, but that that 53 area seems to be a low for now. I'm interested to see if that holds up. Okay. Patrick, you sent me a couple emails about 1, 2, 3 dips, and it's not. I sent you an illustration of it. Did you follow that okay, or is that something we can talk about that the group might benefit from? I tried to circle the ones I saw on Bitcoin. Let me share my screen again.
Well, I was just looking for the 1, 2, 3 dip pattern where it punches through the bottom. But you pointed out that once it goes back and hits the middle average, the red line in the center,
Yeah.
and that cancels the whole sequence.
Right. Then you got to start over. So like here we have a sequence, but now that it's punched through the SMA line and it's going into a squeeze, that dip sequence is over until it drops and punches through the bottom of the Bollinger Band again. And in that situation, you would see it probably bubble out a little bit. So it might look something like this. Oh, before I forget, John, I made the cursor quite a bit larger. Are you guys seeing it better?
I was going to say something about it since I bugged you last week. I can see it better. You made it red too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better. Thank you.
All right, good.
Especially when you're on the radar screen, the red was really easier to see.
Okay.
And I started to say something, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
I appreciate that. I meant to bring it up earlier and I got distracted, but thank you for that suggestion. Those are always welcome.
Thank you.
And
I have a question about the chart, the Bitcoin chart. Okay, I'm sort of understanding this 1, 2, 3 dip, and then it goes back to the SMA line, the squeeze and the bulge. Is there a reverse negative effect of that? If it like pops through the top 3 times, does it tend to come back to the SMA negatively?
Oh, that's interesting. I used to, when I was doing more shorts, I would look for that pattern sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know if it would hold up. I mean, we've been in a bull market, but
yeah, this is if you hit Alt-I on your chart on TradingView, it'll flip your chart. Yeah, inverse it. So
yeah, that's what I was asking about. If you saw something like that after the third one, would you think, oh, it's going to go back down to the SMA? But in the bull market, I saw it one day, and I don't remember what coin it was. And I thought, well, you don't see that because everything's trending up right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I just was wondering if that was something that exists or that you know about or that they talked about in Buddy Coin or whatever.
I know that somebody I was working with who, well, actually my mentor, Jeremy Barnett, who taught me day trading, was starting to get into more leverage trading and more shorts, and he was looking for this pattern. That's why I remembered the Alt I. I was doing some research for him, so so he seemed to think it was useful, but I haven't seen any specific teaching on it. It
Yeah.
sounds reasonable, so.
Well, yeah, we're all looking for patterns. It just occurred to me one day, so
Yeah.
thought I'd ask.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on day trading? Alrighty then. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here. Thanks everybody for showing up, and I'll hang around for additional questions after.